Hello, it's One Take Schreier, and the outrage merchants are at it. Again, today's claim is that the allegations of sexual harassment at Blizzard are false and that somehow I made them all up.
Yeah, this video is extremely difficult to watch because of Jason's effeminate gay voice. My reaction to Jason's video here is probably going to be shorter than you expect given the fact that his video is 20 minutes long. The reason for that is he doesn't really say that much. He rambles on and on about nothing for most of the video.
Normally, I just kind of ignore this part of the internet, like in the same way that you would ignore someone in Times Square screaming that the world is coming to an end because of gays in the military.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
In his video, he makes literally zero claims that have any evidence substantiating them, and I mean zero, I'm not exaggerating. Do me a favor, if you don't believe me, watch his video on his channel. His claims can basically be broken down into 3 categories. Number 1, just trust me bro, I'm a journalist. Category number 2, somebody told me that something happened. Now this is funny because he claims he spoke to over 50 people but only provides a couple of names, and their claims are dubious at best. But even if we take those claims at face value, there are still some severe issues which we'll get into. And category number 3 is believe all women, bro. These women were a minority in the workplace, so they automatically face sexism. Again, no evidence and a whole lot of rambling from our boy Jason here, which is pretty much to be expected from journalists, and especially games journalists. Now, I want to be very clear here because something tells me that Jason has excellent legal representation. I'm not accusing him of any crimes. This is all satirical. It's just for goofs. I'm just a silly guy. This is strictly for entertainment purposes. Nothing I say is meant to be taken as anything other than my opinion. Any jokes, exaggeration, or sarcasm is meant to be taken as exactly that. It's just all for goofs, man. Don't take any of it seriously.
If you're lucky enough to not be familiar with this world, there are a number of culture warriors out there who tweet all day about various agreements, whether or not they are true, in an attempt to elicit intense emotional reactions from their viewers. These people aren't reporters. They don't actually talk to anyone involved or ask questions. They just kind of tweet and post videos, but they do have reach and sometimes bring in large audiences. This is part of a whole ecosystem that just rewards and leads to people getting paid for spreading misinformation.
This is something Jason does throughout his video. He has to paint his opponents as outrage merchants who are being totally unreasonable. It's totally ridiculous that people are outraged about me getting caught lying. Why can't they just let me lie in peace? Jason sold outrage. He used these claims to help sell his books. He sold outrage. What do you think the Cosby Suite and stolen breast milk accusations were designed to do? They were designed to outrage people. He is a literal outrage merchant. A purveyor of bullshit, you might say. He plugs his book multiple times in this video. He can't help it. Now, this is a common leftist tactic, of course, to accuse others of what you yourself are doing. Projection at its finest. And this isn't the only time he does that in this video.
And the language of the settlement, including the following. I'm going to read this entire thing. Quote, no court or any independent investigation has substantiated any allegations that there has been systemic or widespread sexual harassment at Activision Blizzard, that Activision Blizzard senior executives ignored, condoned, or tolerated a culture of systemic harassment, retaliation, or discrimination, or that Activision Blizzard's board of directors, including its chief executive officer, Robert Kotick, acted improperly with regard to the handling of any instances of workplace misconduct. Let's put that aside. Let's look at all the actual facts. And I think one thing that's really important here, if you've watched my other videos, you know this, but oftentimes when you try to reduce a story to a binary of like, is it true? Is it not true? Especially a story that's as complicated as allegations of widespread harassment and a culture of misconduct and sexual discrimination, that really does a disservice to a reality. Reality is more nuanced and more complicated than that.
Yeah, Jason, we shouldn't be concerned with reducing a story down to whether or not it's true or not true. All of the nuances get in the way. Yes, things are very nuanced. We have nuanced thoughts. We're nuancing all over the place.
The California lawsuit was misleading and full of inaccuracies. You can write anything in a lawsuit here in the United States, and that one had a lot of things wrong.
Oh, the lawsuit had issues, did it, Jason? You mean like evidentiary issues? Particularly the lack of evidence? Oh no, it was just handled sloppily? Could that be because they had no evidence? Because most, if not all, the claims in the lawsuit were bullshit? No, surely not. That couldn't be. Jason makes it very clear in this video that he didn't make up those allegations. He just reported on some of them. Now, in my opinion, I do believe that Jason is trying to skirt some legal consequences here. You know, the old defense of, I didn't make up these claims, I just reported on what other people said. I won't tell you who most of those people are, but trust me, they really do actually exist, guys.
Often, for stories like this, the people involved want to stay anonymous, and many of them did, but actually some were willing to speak on the record about their experiences and are quoted by name in my reporting. So I can give you specific names and accounts from these women. There was Cher Scarlett, who told me for a Bloomberg story that she was groped at holiday parties. There's Nikki Roderick, who...
Hold on. That's Cher Scarlett, guys. Do you feel like she'd be groped? Nikki Roderick. Let's check it. A former Activision Blizzard employee says she was greeted on her first day of work with a line of Fireball whiskey shots at 9:30 a.m. Sounds like a fucking awesome place to work.
One anecdote that she told me is that a person she worked with looked at her and said, quote, her ass looks great in those shorts.
Bro. Come on, Jason. What are we doing?
I spoke to Connie Griffith, who told me that...
We got another one. Hold on. Connie Griffith. Let's see. I can't with this. This is like literally their reign of terror is over. The woke woman driving the ideology, it's done. It's done. Your time in the sun is over.
There's a big difference between a woman getting groped at a Christmas party and a company having a systemic environment of sexual abuse. There's a big difference between getting groped at a Christmas party and Cosby Suite. There's a big difference between getting groped at a Christmas party and habitually stolen breast milk or an employee committing suicide from sexual harassment. Those are quite big leaps, especially considering there's no evidence to bridge those gaps at all. Even in interviews after his book came out, he admits that many of these previous claims were bullshit, which is morbidly funny because Jason is a piece of shit liar, and also because innocent guys lost their jobs. And this is because Jason was trying to push narratives of sexism in the workplace. Only 20% of Blizzard's employees were women, so they were facing sexism. No, Jason, that's not how this works. Again, we're taking major leaps with no evidence here.
In case you didn't know, all of the allegations of sexual misconduct, abuse, harassment, and quote, frat boy culture were entirely fake, and the state of California even admitted that there was no evidence substantiating any of the claims. The entire controversy around Blizzard was set up by California to force the company to stop hiring white men using Me Too allegations to strong-arm them. Some of the accusations were so bizarre and insane that they included theft and consumption of breast milk during work hours, a rape room named after Bill Cosby, sexual harassment to the point of an employee ending her life. All of these claims were essentially a theater performance over the fact that only 1 in 5 Blizzard employees were women. As a result, Blizzard agreed to pay roughly $18 million in fines and set up HR hiring practices that would discriminate against white men. Internal messages between California Civil Rights Division officials showed the entire thing was a ploy to send a message to the industry to literally ruin video games.
Now, some of you may ask why Jason would lie to get white men fired from their jobs or to stop Blizzard from hiring more white men, since Jason is someone who himself looks to be white. And you know, it really is a mystery. I mean, why would one of our fellow white people do this? It feels like every single time someone attacks white guys like me, it's one of my fellow white guys. It really truly is a great mystery. I'm sure it will take a lot of long and difficult research. I mean, we'll really have to dig deep down into the earth to find the truth. We'll have to dig metaphorical truth tunnels, you could say. Maybe some of you in the comments could help enlighten myself and others as to why Jason would do something like this.
Chris Kaliki, he used to work at Blizzard. He was one of the main designers for Monks back in the day. Great guy. talked with him multiple times. Even Jason Schreier admits in his latest book that the Cosby Suite was a fake nothing burger and Kotaku was full of shit. But the damage was done, and many great Blizzard developers had, in some cases, 20-plus year careers ruined since nobody wanted to hire, quote, problematic developers when it was all fake. Heartbreaking and infuriating. Keep in mind that Jason Schreier also totally, completely posted some total bullshit about Chris Kaliki's studio. So Chris Kaliki had a studio. Let me see if I can pull this up. I don't know if I can find this. Video game staff, video game firms, viral. Yeah, there it is. It's pretty wild that in 2021, a new game studio still looks like this. So this is a person who tried to attack Chris Kaliki's studio, Notorious, because they didn't have enough black people or women.
A large portion of Jason's video is dedicated to talking about the real story of the Cosby Suite. Not the rape room, but just the fact that it was a joke about how the room looked like Bill Cosby's sweater. Now, Jason takes about 8 minutes to ramble on about this, so I'm not really going to cover all of that here. Watch his video if you don't believe me.
So the article publishes the screenshot of the group text. The article doesn't really mention that the Bill Cosby allegations only resurfaced a year before the photos were taken. And it also doesn't mention that the group text referred to Dave Kosak's wife and Michelle Morrow. And so I spoke to Michelle Morrow about this. Michelle Morrow was really pissed that Kotaku had published this. She felt like it was totally taken out of context, even though it was referring to her. And she felt like it was not right.
Now, this is a great sleight of hand from Jason here, where he neglects to mention that he left out some key context, and leaving out key context is my favorite excuse from liars. He didn't write the Kotaku article about the Cosby Suite allegations, but he did this interview and withheld the information from the public. Until he could sell it in his book, of course. While continuing the entire time to push the Blizzard is bad narrative. They're full of evil, sexists, and rapists. They hate women. Again, all of that being proven to be largely, if not totally, untrue. Any reasonable person following Jason's reporting at the time would naturally assume the Cosby Suite reporting is factual, because unless they read Jason's book, they wouldn't know otherwise. He talks about everything being nuanced in this video. Seriously, he says things are nuanced and complicated about 25 times in his 20-minute video. It's funny how in the past he was never very concerned about nuance, and seemed to be more concerned about reporting untruthful statements. These things really aren't that complicated, Jason. They aren't as nuanced as you claim. Either these things actually fucking happened, or they fucking didn't. It's actually very simple. And in this case, most of these accusations didn't happen, or at the very least have zero evidence that they ever happened. Again, at least to me, this is damage control to try to prevent lawsuits, which unfortunately probably won't work. Please, God, let Jason get sued into oblivion. It would be so fucking funny.
The thing that people don't seem to understand a lot of the times, especially in the gaming world, is that life is not Phoenix Wright. There's no binaries. There are no contradiction. That can't be right. Stories about sexual harassment, especially a lot of stories, but especially stories about sexual harassment, are always going to be messy, complicated, and nuanced. And I think in this case, it's clear, and I've talked to enough people to substantiate this, that there were very real problems at Blizzard.
The old "this isn't true and never happened but somehow led us to discovering real issues" excuse. This is kind of what the whole Me Too movement is based on. Fake rape allegations that somehow in a nebulous way prove there's a rape culture somewhere out there in the ether. The greater truth excuse, which is just another very common leftist tactic. Again, it's so they can lie directly to your face. To close out this video, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that Blizzard has never done anything wrong. I'm not even saying that 100% of these claims are false. Obviously, a great many of them are, but that's not the point of the video at all. The point is Jason's a piece of shit who should never be taken seriously. He's a lying snake. He hates white men. And he should be blacklisted from the games industry. You know, before he gets AIDS and dies. Because he's gay.
Get cancer, 40-year-old faggot.
If you guys enjoyed this little shit post, leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that good shit. Become a channel member. Comment down below letting me know what you think of Jason and his lies. But as always, guys, this has been your boy Drinker, and I'm out of here. Peace.